But somewhere along the line, you'll hear one of the older members say, "That's my pastor," not the pastor, but "That's my pastor." And then you start moving from leading from appointment to leading from by permission. They're allowing you to lead them. They're allowing you to pastor them. They're allowing you to speak into their lives. And I see so many people, especially in America, so many pastors that quit during the appointment time and they never get to the permission time. Leading by permission is one of the greatest levels of leadership you can have, because people actually respect you.
Hey, I'm Pastor Will with the Revitalized Church Podcast. I'm excited to be joined today by Pastor Rodney Mullins from Life Church in Leavittsburg, Ohio. He is an expert at taking people from first-time attenders to disciples that are then out sharing the gospel with other people. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us to grow to a bigger audience and share this information with more people. In the meantime, let's jump over and enjoy this episode with Pastor Rodney. Hey, Pastor Rodney, thank you so much for joining us today, man. I'm excited to have you here. You are a familiar name that a lot of Church of God pastors, you're going to see you and be like, hey, man, I've seen that guy everywhere. You're very popular in a group that we have, and so very thankful for that. But one thing I'd love for people to know is to get to know you, to know the guy behind that. And man, we've just been talking. You've got a great success story. You're there at Life Church in Leavittsburg. God's really been blessing and moving through you there. So, yeah, man, I'm thankful to have you here with us this morning.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk and share my story with others that know me but don't really know me. So it's a good opportunity.
That's awesome, man. So if you wouldn't mind, take just a minute, let everybody know who you are, tell them about your church, how you got there, tell them about your family, anything you want to know. Tell us a little bit about who Pastor Rodney is.
Well, this Easter Sunday, I will celebrate 39 years of full-time pastoral ministry. I haven't done anything else in the last 39 years but be a pastor. I love what I do. I'm encouraged every day by the call of the pastoral ministry as it fits in the fivefold ministry. And I've been here at Life Church for 13 years. We came here as I felt a call of God to come to this area, and was confirmed through my overseer. And he called me following the vote and said that I just barely got the vote. He said, "Are you still willing to come?" I said, if it was just one vote, I'm willing to come, because I just felt that was God's intention. My wife and I have served side by side. She is a tremendous blessing, and she's the intellectual part of our team, and she's very gifted and talented. And we have sons in Columbus, Ohio, and Atlanta, Georgia. So they're both doing ministry and using their gifts and their talents in music ministry. So we're happy at doing what God's called us to do.
Now, that's awesome. Now, you just told me a few minutes ago, and you just told the audience 39 years. And so 39 years this Easter. And so that is awesome. Happy pastor anniversary. That is a great career in ministry. I know you've seen a lot. You have probably been a part of a whole lot. And so, man, interested in diving into some of the things that you did there in Leavittsburg to bring it to where you at. You said that you told me you're going to have quite the crowd, you think, this Sunday. Lord willing, to have them there. Tell us a bit about what it was like when you got there, and some of the things that you've done at this church to get to where you are. You were talking about your vision, so if you wouldn't mind going into that a little bit and talk about, at the beginning and how you've got there now.
Well, I will tell you that when I arrived here, I realized very quickly that I was able to climb up on the shoulders of some very quality pastors that I followed, that laid a great foundation. So whatever experience or success we're experiencing is partly because of the foundation that they laid before me. Tommy Gillum, who is a tremendous gifted orator and pastor, really saw the church do some great things under his leadership. They went from just a handful of people, built a great facility here, and then they were followed by John Alexander, who came in after a long-term pastorate of Tommy Gillum, and he laid a great foundation. And then Byron Powers came, and he was here for several years, and he laid a tremendous foundation. And when I got here, I've had full support by them. I don't speak negative of them. They don't speak negative of me. And I think that's a key to success. But when I got here, I realized that the church had been in a pattern for a while, and they saw some measure of success, but it seemed to be stuck in that pattern. There was probably 9 weeks between myself and the former pastor. So a lot of people had settled into some perhaps a little unhealthy roles. And one of the things I knew I had to do is share with the church and teach the leadership and the staff how to do proper evaluation of ministry. I think sometimes when someone says how you're doing, we traditionally, especially in our movement, say, man, things are going great, when we know in our hearts that we're struggling. And I believe and teach our leadership that if we're going to grow, if we're going to do anything for God, we've got to, I call it POLE, P-O-L-E, plan, organize, lead, and evaluate. And I really demand honest evaluation. So we started doing some evaluation, and we realized that one of the things that had grown in the church was silos. And a lot of people were doing things their own way, and there was not a lot of team ministry. And I'm a team player. I lead teams. And so I knew we had to dismantle the silo kind of thinking, where this is my ministry, this is my ministry, this is my ministry. And we begin to teach the staff and the leaders that this is our ministry, and everything is interconnected and interwoven, and no one person or one silo can be successful and the others fail. If we rise together, we rise together. If we fail together, we fail together. But whatever we're going to do, we're going to do together. And that was a hard lesson for some of the leaders to learn, and some of them left and felt like they needed to go someplace else and work. And so through that honest evaluation and dismantling the silos, we begin to teach team ministry. I hired staff around that concept. So everybody jumps in and helps everyone else become successful. So if the youth is doing an event, then everybody comes together and helps them become successful. If the children are doing an event, the seniors, the young adults, whatever group it is, we all are there to make sure that they are successful. And I think that's where we have really seen we've developed some intimacy in our communication. We're able to talk things out. We're able to fight things out, and still come together and make things happen. So it's not been an easy journey, but where we're at now, 13 years later, we just function like a well-oiled machine, because we've gotten in the staff rooms in our conference rooms, and we've fought it out. I give everybody opportunity. If you want to do something, present it to the rest of the team, roll up your sleeves and convince us that it fits in the vision. And my third week here, I presented the vision that God had laid on my heart for this church. And everything we do has to be filtered through that vision. If it doesn't add to the vision, then we don't spend resources on it. If it doesn't add to the vision, then we don't spend time on it. And people will come and say, I believe we need to do this, and tell me how that fits into our vision. And our vision has really been the foundation for everything we've done. And we've seen some tremendous successes. We live in a little town called Leavittsburg, Ohio. In this town is a school, a couple gas stations, a deli, and a bar, and one of Trumbull County's biggest prisons, and us. So we have people that drive an hour away to come to our church, and on Easter Sunday, we'll have traffic backed up all the way to the main road. And it's because of our vision. And our vision, if I can take a moment to share with you what that is reaching others. It's called Reaching Others with the Message of Christ. And we do that with 4 pillars. We reach up through worship. We reach around through fellowship. We reach in through discipleship, and we reach out through ministry. So everything is funneled through that. Our church services are based on that. Our the way we introduce new people to our church is based on that, and our inroad to ministry is based on that, and it has become very familiar to everyone. By the time you're a member of our church, you know that vision up and down, inside and out. If you're a leader, you can quote that vision, because we believe it's not just words, it's the oxygen behind what we do. And we have settled into that. Every leader has bought into it. My staff is all people that I've hired, with the exception of one, which is our administrator, who does a tremendous job with everything people see, our website and everything. But everyone else is new and have bought into that vision of our core value is reaching others with the message of Christ. And because of that, probably the last 5 years, with the exception of our COVID time, we have seen new people every single Sunday. Last Sunday, we had 11 new people. They come every single week. We get people connected every single week. And it has been a long, difficult process at the beginning, but now it's a flow, and it flows through that vision. I have partnered with Jerry Lawson, who teaches 24 to double. I've done that for the last 20 years. And so everything we do is based on that concept. And our goal is to double every 2 years. It's not always successful. Sometimes we have subtraction, sometimes it doesn't work as well as we want it to, but it is definitely the foundation of what we do. And it's been a dream. It has been a dream come true. I love getting up and preaching and knowing that every week there's people in there that don't know Jesus that could come to the cross at the conclusion of that service.
Man, that's awesome. So I'll recap on a few of those things that I like is your theory of evaluation. A lot of us don't do that because we're afraid of what we might find out.
Exactly.
I mean, and you got to know what you're working with sometimes, and to be able to have not just evaluation but honest evaluation. And
Correct.
first off, the respect that you gave your previous pastors. I think that's important, especially in the world of revitalization, because a lot of times we like to talk about why we're doing revitalization. And we might not say it, but it can come off bad on the former leadership. And just because we want to revitalize does not mean that the previous pastor did a horrible job, or they were bad leaders, or they led the church down a wrong horrible. Sometimes revitalization is just a refreshing up of why we're doing what we're doing, and a chance to bring in that new vision. If you're the new pastor, that's, you're bringing in a new vision, and it's a chance to get that. But at the evaluation time, I can imagine when you did that, you evaluated some positions and people, and like, did you have to move people around that when you got to evaluate, you realize, hey, you've got talents, but I think you might be better serving in a different area, or anything like that?
We actually lost most of our staff within the first 2 years. Um, and it wasn't always a mutual thing. It wasn't always a cohesive thought. Just people felt like that they didn't fit in with the direction we were going, and that's okay. And I believe if you're going to revitalize a church, you have to be okay with change. Our motto is, if we can't train them, we trade them. If they can't fit into that place that they volunteered for, or that they were hired for, then our first goal is to move them to another place that they can find their niche, and be more positive and productive. But if we can't train them or trade them, then they probably, especially if they're staff, they probably would find a better way to serve someplace else. And that's okay. That's, when that first started happening, people here felt like the world was falling apart. And I had to teach them that, not everybody that comes with you to this point is going to go with you to the next point. And you can't be married to personalities. You got to be married to the vision, which will, I believe a good vision will cause you to crash through all those quitting points and those stopping points and those times of delay that you think, man, it's not working. But in order to do that, you have to. I see young men, I'll see them on Facebook or on social networks, and sometimes on our group page for ministers. I see them, they want to blame the last guy, or the last
Right.
10 years or the last group of church people. That's the very worst thing that you can do, because I'll be honest with you. I know there's people sitting in my church today that they came to the altar and surrendered their life to Christ because Tommy Gillum preached a message that touched their life,
Right.
or ours shared a vision that changed their life and their family came in and gave their hearts to the Lord. For me to get up and be critical of that, or have my vision or my building be opposite of that, and me announce we're going to do things different because there's a new guy in town, um, that would devastate people. I remember, we had an elderly gentleman here that, he was just kind of there, and he mumbled some and complained a little bit about things. And I just went up to him one day and I just said, and he's been here for years through all the pastors. And I said, I just want to thank you. And he said, for what? And I said, for just being here and serving and committing your life to this vision. And I don't know if anybody's ever taken the time to thank you. And he came back the next week and he told me, no one's ever thanked me for that. No one's ever stopped and thanked me for that. They don't teach. They don't do anything in ministry. They used to, but they're of age now. But just stopping and saying thank you to the past before you start trying to build a future always lays a good foundation. And I have found that very beneficial here. So, we've gone through some tough times, some difficult transactions and transitions, but God's been faithful. And we always gear it right back to the vision and that honest evaluation. Everything we do. We just had a big Easter egg hunt, and I think there was like 450 to 500 people showed up. And right after we started evaluating, what can we do different? What can we do better? How can we fine tune this? How can we turn this into an invite situation? How can we turn this into souls being saved? And each year we build on those honest evaluations. So we're in a good, healthy place, but it's time for some more revitalization. We gotta make some changes to get us to the next level.
Yeah, you got to break that curve. There's plateaus at times when we're on that upward trend, and so sometimes you kind of need to rest a little bit and then pick it back up and get back up. But so I love your passion about the vision, because I think a lot of us, we have our mission and vision statements and we've got those things, but we pick one. We can pick one that looks good on a T-shirt, looks good on a sign, or looks good, but we pick the vision, and then that's all we do with it. And I think if more of us had that same mentality towards it, no, this is our vision, and everything. It's not just there; it's a filter.
Exactly.
It catches. All right, so there's going to be things that we have a great idea, but it doesn't match that vision in the way that we want, so we don't do it. And because you're burning capital. It's kind of like the simple church movement. It went for a long time. There's a whole lot of things that we're doing in churches that can be good, but it's burning up capital, it's burning up people, it's burning up resources, and it doesn't really fit your vision. You're just doing it because you've always done it. And
It,
so,
it,
man, if more guys would get that vision and then hone that vision down and train their staff, every time somebody comes to an idea, say, I like it, but how does it fit? And so you're not you're just asking them, know that answer when you bring it to me. And man, I love the impact there on that. But you're right. Sometimes these changes are hard, and sometimes you'll see some people walk out the door. Hopefully, you see a whole lot more people walk out back in because of it, because it's all part of it. So yeah. So tell me, when you look back, we've talked about the themes of it. What's one thing we'd like to talk about church health? What's one thing when you look back that you say, hey, this is something that I recognize as a sign of a healthy church, as an encouragement to somebody else out there that say this may be happening in their church and they haven't even noticed it, and they can look at it and say, you know what, man, I am doing something right. What does church health mean to you? What are some of those signs?
I think we had to get our people to stop focusing on how many people show up on Sunday, but we developed what we call on road to ministry. And when someone comes to our church and they become a new convert, our goal is to get them into our new life class. And then following new life class is our diamond life class. And that's a 4-week introduction to our church, our leadership, how we do things. And then at the conclusion of diamond life class, we invite them to become members. Some do, some don't. But normally about every month we're taking in new members because of that class. And then we move from Diamond Life to Bible Life, which is it's almost a year-long study through the disciplines of the church and what we believe and why we believe it. And we build their faith, and we give them courage. And in that time, we find a place to put them in leadership. And if it's the front door, if it's ushering, if it's teaching, because through Diamond Life we get a gift survey, and we know what their gifts are and their passions are. And I think to see what a healthy church looks like is how many disciples do you have of the vision? How many people have bought into the vision? They believe the vision, and they're practicing that in their gifts and their talents and their resources within the church. We put hundreds and hundreds of people through that process: New Life, Diamond Life, Bible Life, and we also partner with Perry Stone, and we do School of the Word here. So that's selected classes that we do throughout the year. So we keep people in discipleship. I don't think a healthy church can ever obtain absolute health until they are creating disciples. And, I told my wife several days ago, I want my epitaph to read, he created disciples. Not that he built a great church or he did anything successful, but he created disciples, followers, fully developed followers of Christ. And when we see that happen, and we see people start plugging in and they start using their gifts and their talents, and we see them maturing in their faith, then that's what we call a healthy church. And I say to guys, if you have 20 people, find one person that you can develop and create a disciple. And then that becomes the health of your church. And then include them in the next process, and then include them. When I first introduced our Diamond Life and our Bible Life to this church, it was met with some real confident and bold people that they didn't need anything else, that they were fully developed. And so our first class was minimal. We just had a few people, and to date, I think there's been 400, 500 people that have gone through that entire process. And now the new people that come through the doors, they know that's our process. Every month we will meet with brand new people. We have what we call a connect meal on a Sunday evening. We bring them in, we feed them, we introduce them to all our leaders. They get these little cards where they can scan it with their phone. If they want to be in youth ministry, it'll take them right to the youth ministry application. If they want to be in worship, it can take them right to that. And in that 1 hour connect meal, they know every leader. They meet me personally, and that's where we start our process to get them to become fully developed disciples. Now we do have 20-25% of our church that just want to come on Sundays. That's okay. We celebrate discipleship. We invite them to go through that pathway of discipleship. But we also celebrate them if they just want to, come and sit on the pew on Sundays, because we're hoping that something encourages them to become more of a mature believer. But we don't spend a lot of time other than elder care for our regular attenders that's been here for years. Our elders care for them, call upon them, visit them in the hospitals, and pray for them around the altars. But other than that, our energy and our focus is creating new disciples when they walk through the door. From the moment they get out of their car until they leave that Sunday, we want to make sure they know we have a path for them to grow in maturity. Last night during our service, I was walking around to some of the classes, and one of the young men came to me and he said, I want to tell you, since I went through Diamond Life and joined Bible Life, he said, I've got a healing in my mind that I've never had before. I understand God greater than I ever have before. And that's what I call a healthy church, when people are growing and they're developing, and discipleship isn't a bad word. It's not something that they dread, but it's something that they love. So my opinion of health is, how many people are you developing into mature disciples?
Oh, I like that. So I'll tell you, I'm asking these questions from a personal standpoint because these are some things we're wanting to implement here at our church. And I was just meeting with my team about that last night, and I was talking about discipleship, and I even shared this whiteboard thing. I drew it up. I love to draw out things on a whiteboard and kind of get creative. My drawing is horrible, but it shows people to be a little bit creative, because if we get the discipleship going, it creates a cycle. If you can ever get somebody in the front door the first time by themselves, by the time they go through that journey, they'll bring more people with them, and then those
Right.
people are doing it. So it's multiplication. It compounds. But so about your one, how did you come up with the name Diamond Life? I've heard a lot of different names for new believers, new beginners, new attenders, next steps, and all that. That is an interesting name. How did you come up with Diamond Life?
Well, I'm not really sure where the concept of a diamond was born in my mind or heart. It may have been something I've read or over the years. Like I said, I've been doing this
Right.
for 30 years, but it's not the jewel diamond. It's the baseball diamond. So we see
Oh,
people
nice.
they come through the door and their first base is new life, second base is diamond life, third base is Bible life, home run is when they're a fully developed disciple. So it's more of a demarcation in their life. We actually know where they're at any given moment. We keep files on them. We know that all we have to do is look up their name and we can tell they've been through Bible life, they've been through Diamond Life, they're members of the church. Here's their gifts. And then I have a ministries coordinator, and his entire job is to take people who come through that process of um, New Life, Diamond Life, Bible Life, and then graduate. Each one of those, we have a graduation Sunday. Each one of those, they're certified. And his job is to look at who's come through that, get them into the volunteer pipeline, and get them into ministry someplace. That's his job. And he meets with them, brings them in, interviews them, and says, okay, let's get you plugged in. And we have this revolving pipeline of volunteers that, and then if one of our leaders said, hey, like if the children's leader says one of my leaders stepped down, and we always give people room to step down, you know, ministry can't be a black hole. You can't get somebody in
Right.
children's ministry in there for 40 years. We say, hey, if you're burned out, if you're tired, weary, come to us. We'll allow you to sit down for a season or however long it takes. And then that leader will call Anthony, our ministries coordinator, and say, hey, I need a volunteer. He'll give a list of names to our recruiters, and our recruiters goes and gets them and
Right.
gets them set in that position. So it's taken a while to get that flow happening. But that has great value to what we do. Any given time, one of our leaders can call Anthony and say, hey, I need help in this area. And he's got a list of names of people that he can plug in for them.
I hope he's got that file labeled as bullpen. Man, you're
Yeah.
speaking my language at baseball. You know what I'm saying? I can see him right now calling
Yeah.
up the righty. Hey, I need a righty down here at Children's Church. Send him on in.
And we'll
Yeah, that is
that set at our conference table, and we'll pull names out, and it looks like we're trading for the Super Bowl or the old Moneyball movie. That's what it looks like. We're in there with names, and sometimes we'll have workers say, wait a minute, they're gifted in youth, wait a minute, they're gifted in children's, let's pull the name here, no, I want them over here. And it's an exciting time when we do that. And we just then before he can plug anyone in, he's got to talk to me, because there are things sometimes I know about a person that nobody else does. And I'll either give them the thumbs up or just wait a little while. Maybe they've got something on there. Everyone that works with kids, we have a background check run on them. Maybe something came back on the background check that I don't want to make privileged information to anybody. I just say, you got to use them someplace else. And he knows what that means. So he focuses them in another direction. But the flow of that it's fun to watch that happen, because when you can see somebody come in and then 6 months later they're volunteering, and they didn't know Christ when they came, but they came to the altar. And I will tell you that we have 2 altar calls every Sunday, no matter what. The first one is during our worship. We call it elder prayer time, and it comes up on our big screen, and people walk up to the altars, and that's just for any need that they have. And then at the end of the service, I will give an altar call for salvation. And normally, last week it was 3 people came to Christ. This week it'll probably be
Amen.
15 or 20 people. So, all those things plug together to make this thing successful, because you got to have people coming up through the system, and I use that word loosely, but you got to
Yeah.
have people coming up through you got to have a reserve ready and locked and loaded. And, speaking of baseball, you got to have the A team and the double A and the triple A. And if you don't have those backup players, those people that are ready to go, you're going to find yourself in a big gap. And that's Anthony's job, is make sure those we actually got a huge wall size flow chart that we keep everything under. We have 7 teams, and those teams have leaders in them, and then we have those people that volunteer under them, and it's his job to keep plugging those places in and keep moving people. And it's just an amazing thing to see, the simplicity of discipleship when you're structured like that.
That is something I think a lot of people could learn from, man. If you could ever find a way to share something like that, how you've got that designed. And I was trying to imagine in my mind how you come in with a diamond of, like, coal move to a diamond, learning, but I'm all on board. I love the baseball analogy there, man. That is, you had me. You're even the general manager making the approvals for the coach. I mean, I like that. So, guys, get creative, man. If you're sitting here listening to Pastor Rodney talk about that, get creative with your team, man. The more creative thinking we can get people to do, the more they'll start thinking that way. And so that's as I love it. I'm gonna keep going on that. As a coach, you're trying to bring the best out of those players, because you're not the one out there on the field. They're the ones doing it. So, um, I love that, man.
And one more thing,
That's yeah. Go
Easter, I
ahead.
tell all my team, we have what we call a dream team meeting every month, and we have over 100 volunteers, and we come together every month and we dream about our next big event. We have 5 big events a year, and I tell my team, okay, guys, Easter's coming. This is the Super Bowl. This is the NBA Finals. This
Oh
is the
yeah.
national championship. This is the day when we all show up with our best. Nobody
Yep.
stays home. This every first string players out here. Everybody's doing our best job. And because we want new people to see where they can fit in and where they can plug in. I usually get to the pulpit to preach, and that's all I do. Other people do the introductions, the announcements. Everything is run by other people, because I want them to see, I want new people to see that this is not a one man show. It's all about team.
That's awesome. So I've got another quick question. The training sessions that you have, so your new life class, you said you do that on Sunday evenings?
We schedule it throughout the week, Wednesdays, Sundays. We try to have one or two, like our Diamond Life class. We have 3 or 4 going on at the same time.
Mhm.
Bible Life, we have 5 or 6 classes going on at the same time, but we kind of schedule them to where if somebody comes to starts a Bible Life class, then the next quarter will start another one, so that they're
Mhm.
always have an ability to jump in. And if this person misses the last quarter of Bible Life, they can catch up on this one. In order to be certified, we have a certain percentage number. I don't remember what it is that they have to go to in order to be certified. But we always have these. I think, like last night, Wednesday night, I think we had um, 3 or 4 Bible Life classes going on, and then monthly we'll have at least 2 Diamond Life classes. Our Diamond Life is all online, so people
Mhm.
can go there. They can register
Oh, I
and
like
go
that.
there and go, and it's all on video. One of our elders videotaped the entire thing and taught the whole class, and they can go through that, and then they call us to let us know when they finished, and then we do the gift survey and take them through the rest of the process. So we have people going through Diamond Life all the time, and Bible Life, like I said, there's usually 3 or 4 classes going per quarter. And the School of the Word is, we'll have somebody come in and say, our facilitators will say, listen, I want to do this class, and we'll order the class, and they facilitate that. I think we have 2 of those going on right now.
So the timing of that. So one thing I hear a lot is, I want to start this, like I want to do next steps. I want to do, some of these classes like you have, whatever they call them, but it's always when do I do this? And so that's a big issue of, do I do this in place of a Sunday school class? Do I bring them in on Sunday nights? Do I do it on a Wednesday night? Trying to, have you seen a certain time for these things that you, or even a hindrance, like, hey, we don't want to give this up for this. Like, what did that look for? Or what does it even look like now of timings and all? What works best?
Well, we found out that if we run a couple on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. of our Bible Life, and 3 or 4 on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., and we scatter the start dates of those, that we pretty much catch everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some Bible Lives, like right now we're doing Bible Life for our students, and that is Wednesday nights at 5. The students come in early that want to go through Bible Life, and that's at Wednesday nights at 5. So if we have 3 or 4 people that can't make any of those dates, they only come on worship, but they want to do it, then we'll do it on a Wednesday morning. We'll find a facilitator and facilitate that for them, because we want to make it easy for everyone to become a disciple.
No, I love that. That's awesome. So we've talked about things that have worked, and I told you I love, we like to go into this topic and ask different pastors, what's something that you've done that just absolutely didn't work, and what did you learn from that?
Well, I think when I say that, as we started growing, we started getting some pushback. Um, I think that one of the things we as a team did that probably failed is as soon as we started getting pushback, we started embracing our own ministry again. We didn't want to release it and let it go, and that caused some conflict. It caused some disunity that we had to rebuild on, and my failure through that was I didn't see it happen. And like, we started a campus church, and on the other side of a city next to us, and it was going very well. And next thing I know, the pastor and some of the leaders decided to go start their own church and took all the people with them, left us with an empty building. And I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that happening. So it was a bit of a confusing time. It was a failure on my part on how I led up to that point, but I feel like we handled it good, and we bounced back from that. So there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be wins and there's going to be losses. But I try to teach our people, if we win together, then we're successful. If we lose together, we're successful. But we don't let anybody go out on their own and feel like they failed without the rest of the team saying, hey, we own part of that.
And I think a lot of guys got that mindset more, and it might relieve some of the burden off of them too, of we win together and lose together. We carry a lot of the stress if you go out there and look and half the congregation's missing, and what did I do wrong? But then the next Sunday,
Yep.
when we're busting at the seams, we're feeling all good, thinking, well, yeah, man, I got it all together. I must have done real good, and you know what I'm saying? So hey, I did great last Sunday. I've got a big crowd today. And we can't, if you're going to rise on the good days, you're going to fall on the bad ones. But when you look at it and say,
Exactly.
hey, we're all doing this, we're in it together. And I think we need to share that with our congregations more. Be a little bit transparent. Hey, we're all, if we're going to succeed, it's because we did it. And that's where you look at scriptures, man. One of the most important things in scripture is unity.
Exactly.
And having that body working together. And so that's real important, man. So I appreciate all that you have shared. I have a page full of notes over here because I love in these podcasts. It's not just for everybody else to learn. I am a student of what I am trying to glean from y'all, and I will be borrowing a lot of things from that. You're liable to see a new diamond group pop up in North Carolina, and I'll try and throw some ideas your way, or at least some credit your way. I was trying to get the right word out on that. So
We
thank you
we
for sharing that.
we often have our staff sending out copies of our Diamond Life, copies of our Bible Life to pastors when they call and say, hey, how you took, they watch a video and they see us take in 13 new members. How do you do that? Well, they went through Diamond Life. What's that? I'll tell my secretary, hey, this guy, send him a copy of Diamond Life, send him a copy of Bible Life. Whatever we have is I'm sure we pieced it together from other ministries. I just don't remember where, but I'm sure we have. So we share and say, hey, this is This is where how we do it. Take what we've got and personalize it, change it wherever you want to, and make it happen where you're at.
Man, if more of us did that, that was the whole idea of this podcast. It's not because I'm some revitalized church guru. It's the exact opposite. I'm trying to learn this. You know what I'm saying? It's a passion to learn. But we have so many people, especially in the Church of God. So I want this podcast to be bigger than the Church of God. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I've got more guests coming in. But even in our tribe, even in our people, we have so many great resources that we don't even know that we have. That it's the average pastor somewhere across the country doing something that might be a perfect fit for what we're doing, but we don't know. And so the more ideas that we can get out there and be willing to share our success stories. A lot of times we think, well, hey, I'm not the big mega church. I'm not this. I don't have something to share. Well, you do. You have something that God has blessed you with, an idea. Please be willing to share those ideas. Just like Pastor Rodney was saying, man, that could be a big blessing to somebody else, because they may not do the exact thing, but they can modify that. They can change it, make it their own. I mean, you hear people all the time talking about somebody else's sermon about, hey, man, I'm going to take that and grind that up, make my own sausage out of it. Don't be afraid to use somebody else's ideas. And thank you for being willing to share that. But so one thing I did want to get into is you're talking about the shared resources is something that you and Bill Isaac started a couple years ago now, and you've got Tom Sturbins and Brandon helping you out on this, moderating it. Is the group that we have. It's a private group just for ministers only. Don't even want to put the name out there. You know what I'm saying? That's a special place for us to be able to go and share. And man, that has had a huge impact as far as being able to connect. I can't tell you how many pastors I've connected with that I would have never met. But yet now we have regular conversations where their families, what's going on in their life. You see their churches, you're able to celebrate their wins with them. You're able to be there with them when they go through hard times in life. So for one of the guys in that group, I appreciate it. You're one of the moderators. And so we keep you really busy trying to keep up with everything that's going on. But tell us a little bit, I think we'll look back one day and see how something like that has shaped our movement, you know what I'm saying, by giving us that networking opportunity. And one thing I know we've had, I hear people say, we used to have other websites where you can go and comment and people would, and I think that would turn negative a lot of times because it was not confidential. What's the right word? Anonymous.
Yeah.
And, here we're able to have real conversations. You know who you're talking to. You get great feedback. And most of all, you get to connect. You know what I'm saying? And that is, you see people just sharing, hey, pray for me. I'm going through this. And other pastors that you don't even get to know, all of a sudden you've been put on prayer lists all over the country and all over the world, with us being an international. How do you, from the beginning of that group to now, what kind of impact do you think you've had? What kind of feedback have you got from ministers on that?
We started 10 years ago, and we started with 3 of us. And Bill Isaacs sat down and he said, I really want a place where we can resource one another and kind of push and urge one another toward a spirit of excellence. And we wanted to go with critical ministers so that we can, that kind of partnership, that love. Our group, 5,500 ministers now. There's always someone that is not doing what you're doing, or someone that's doing more than you're doing. There's someone that's running 30 when you're 40, someone's running 50 when you're 40. So there's always someone you can help and always someone that can help you. And we've been, we've had our ups and downs in that group. And whenever there's a political season or something happening, it gets a little tight and sometimes stressful. But when you look at the resources that we have we have some of this nation's top pastors that are pastoring some of the most successful churches in the nation and even in the world that are a part of this group. We have, so many pastors that, feel isolated and alone, and they log on Monday morning and get into that group, and they start hearing testimonies, and they start, what do you do if somebody tell me what you do if your microphone blows up? Does anybody? I
Mm-hmm.
personally, we just put in a brand new LED screen in our church, and I found the guy to install that is one of the pastors in our group, and he came
Right.
in and everything. So we have so many tremendous resources that we're trying to pull. We're pushing, and I'm going to push more following Easter for people to do things like this. Tag your podcast on there, for leaders to do a 5-minute video of what was successful and what wasn't successful, and post on there. So the resources are, and all our executive committee is a part of it. All of our
Mm-hmm.
general leadership is a part of it. And to be able to have a place like that where our general bishop can come on and share his heart is just amazing. And somebody told me, just 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, or 3 weeks ago, they messaged me and said that this has become the voice of the movement. It's become a
Mm-hmm.
place where the little guy can share his heart, and the big guy can communicate with the little guy. And sometimes, it has been in the past. I have felt like, because like the Apostle Paul, I've been abased and I've abounded. I started, my first church was 11 people, so I know what that feels like. And I always said, man, if I ever have some level of success, I want to invest in people, because I spend a lot of time with nobody investing in me. And I think that this really is a place for that. And I know some guys get discouraged and they say, I didn't like this conversation or that conversation. I say, don't get yourself involved in that one. Wait till the next one. Connect where you
Scroll past
can,
it.
because 100 people there on a daily basis that can bless you and love on
Right.
you, and the power of prayer through that is just amazing. We will put on a prayer request, and next thing you know, 5,500 ministers are praying, hundreds
Mm-hmm.
if not thousands of churches are praying. I think it's just an amazing opportunity. It's grown way more than what we thought it would, and now
Mm-hmm.
we're around the world. We have pastors from around the world on that page, and it's just an amazing group.
It shows people are hungry for that connection.
That,
And to be able, just to know that somebody else knows my name. They know I exist. They know where I'm at. We have that at General Assembly, and we'll have that at camp meeting. But all throughout the year, we talk about we really don't connect as much. And so I think it has taken a worldwide movement and made a small world out of it. You know what I'm saying? It is we've become a pretty close group. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that, and I'm guilty of this, that comment and post a lot. I had a friend that picked on me the other day. He said, "Man, look, you got top contributor beside your name now." And I said, "I've arrived." You know what I'm saying? I feel like I've made it in this world. I'm a top contributor, maybe a top instigator at times, but you hear people, even those, we're all passionate about our movement, or our group. We want to see the best for it. And so that's one thing that you can see is, even with all the differing opinions that we see, there is a love for the Church of God. And that's
absolutely.
really awesome to have a place that we can go there and say, you know what, we've got all these, and that's what makes us great is the difference among us. We've got so many different nationalities, so many different cultures, but we all come together with the same belief, believing in God, and we're all bound by this one movement that we call the Church of God. Man, it's really awesome to be a part of that. So thank you so much for being willing to moderate it, to keep it going, to you and the other gentlemen that are doing that. Thank you so much. Um, Anything else you want to dive into that you think we didn't cover?
I want to share with guys that are just starting a new church, or maybe it's
Oh
their
yeah,
first church.
that's one thing. Yeah, I always like to end with that right there, man. Just speaking to that new minister's heart.
I want to share with them that there's two levels that I have found, um, in leadership in your first church or your new church. And that is, for a season, you will lead by appointment. That is a process where you're appointed to a church, and you are now the pastor. And everybody will say the pastor. And during that season where you're leading by appointment, your goal is to earn their respect and earn their fellowship and earn their love. And then Sometimes it's 4 years, sometimes it's 7 years, sometimes it's longer. I've not seen it much shorter than 4 years. But somewhere along the line, you'll hear one of the older members say, "That's my pastor," not the pastor, but "That's my pastor." And then you
Mhm.
start moving from leading from appointment to leading from by permission. They're allowing you to lead them. They're allowing you to pastor them. They're allowing you to speak into their lives. And I see so many people, especially in America, so many pastors that quit during the appointment time and they never get to the permission time. Leading by permission is one of the greatest levels of leadership you can have, because people actually respect you. They hear you, they listen to you, they come to you for information, they come to you for direction. So I want to encourage young guys, or if you're starting a new church, or you're been appointed to a new church, just lean back and enjoy that appointment season. Don't make excessive changes. Don't change the world in that time. Just work on getting people to know you. Be real. Be transparent. Getting people to trust you and love you. And then once you start moving into that, hey, that's my pastor, that permission level, it becomes such a sweet, or I should say, sweeter journey when people are actually hearing you because you are their pastor. And they're not calling the last guy to do the funeral or the wedding anymore. They're talking to you. They're asking you. They're not calling the other guy to help them with their marriage. They're calling you. And that becomes a level of leadership that you can't trade for anything. But if you look at the average pastor in America, they serve from 2 to 5 years. And most permission states or levels don't come until the 6th or 7th year. So they're missing out on, so they spend their entire career pastoring by appointment only. And it never gets to the real intimate leadership levels that they need to build something long-term and successful. So I encourage guys to stay long enough to have somebody say, "That's my pastor."
Oh man, that is very timely and some great advice right there. Don't quit too soon. Give it a chance. Um, haven't heard it put like that here lately. Going from appointment to permission. That's a good way to put it. And so I appreciate you sharing. Thank you so much for your time today. Being willing to jump on and be a part of this. You've got a great amount of experience. I've learned so much from you, man. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go back and digest a whole lot of this stuff and see what I can learn from this and what I might can implement, because we're actively revitalizing and we're actively trying to get some of these systems in place. And so thank you for that. And man, I'd love to see a copy of that. The Diamond Plan the Diamond Class especially, and to see how what we might can glean from that. And so thank you so much for sharing, being a part, man. It's been awesome connecting with you.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. And thank you for watching today, for being a part. We're very thankful for everybody that watches and is part of these podcasts. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, and that kind of helps us get the word out to even more. This is all about trying to help other pastors. And feel free to get in touch with me and share something. If you've got a story you want to share, I'd love to highlight that. So be a blessing to somebody. Happy Easter, and we hope you have a great day.